My name's Mike. I'd like to thank you for visiting our website. If you've checked with our website at locksmithvideoschool.com, it's probably one of two reasons. You either surfing the net and you came across our website, or you're interested in becoming a locksmith. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I started in the locksmith, I'm in my 60s now. I started in the locksmith business when I was in my 20s. Actually, the way I got into the business, the way most guys get into the business, is they go to work for a locksmith company and they work for them for a year or so until they learn the basic things that they need to know as a locksmith, and then they branch off and they go on into business for themselves, which is basically what I did. I started out installing deadbolts. Actually, believe it or not, I started installing deadbolts door to door. I had a block of wood about like this, had a single cylinder deadbolt, a double cylinder deadbolt, and I went door to door selling them. You know, it sounds strange, but I'll tell you what, I made $800 a week, and I only worked probably Friday and Saturdays and Sundays. I worked 3 days a week and made about $800 a week. This was way back. I mean, if I was in the business when I was 20, do the math. It was quite a few years ago. Deadbolts had just come out, and I started putting in deadbolts, so I learned how to do that. And then people would ask me, they would say, well, Mike, can you rekey the bottom lock to match the other locks in the house? And I go, well, I guess I can. So what I did was I went to the supply house and I sat back there with one of the guys and I said, hey man, can you show me how to do this? And I would say within a day or so, I was able to rekey the locks to match their other locks, and I would charge them $8.50 or whatever we were charging back then for that service, and I got into it. Then the builders started putting those deadbolts on houses. You started seeing them everywhere, so the business kind of began to dry up. And I told this friend of mine named Gary, I said, you know, I really enjoy the lock business. It's just, I don't know, I deal with different people every day, and I just enjoy the trade. It seems like a pretty neat business. And I said, you know what, I am going to be a locksmith. So what I did was I went and I bought me a van that was just an empty cargo van, and I went over to one of the largest lock companies in town, and I told him that I had been a locksmith for about 5 years or so. And the truth of the matter was, I had been a locksmith for that long, but probably not the type of locksmith they were looking for. So anyways, I was very, very fortunate, because after my first or second day there, I'll never forget it, the guy's name was Limey Kington. Old fella, but just really, really just one of the sweetest guys you'd ever want to know. He had me come in his office and he says, sit down, son. And I was scared because I knew I was history. And he said, you don't know nothing, do you? And I said, well, I can learn. So he handed me a box, a mortise section that went on a oak door. And he said, the instructions are in the box here. He said, you go to this office building on the whatever floor, and it was like the Taj Mahal. It's really a beautiful oak door. He said, if you mess the door up, don't bother coming back. He said, but the instructions are in the box. It took me probably 2 days to get that job done, but it was done perfectly according to what the directions were. So a lot of this stuff, I can't give you guys, 40 some years of my life on 10 DVDs, a workbook and a manual and those things, and I just can't do it. But what I can give you is the tech support that you need to be able to pick up the phone, like I had when I worked for that company. I would call one of the service guys in the shop there and I would say, hey man, I've got this lock, explain it to him, and he would walk me through fixing it. Well, the way I handle tech support with locksmithvideoschool.com, we use the technology that's available to us today. That's why they call them smartphones. Like, here's a hypothetical situation. You take our program and you get into the locksmith business and you get called out to a jewelry store. And on this jewelry store, there's a Detex Model 11 alarm lock on the back door, and you go, oh my gosh, I don't have any clue. I have no idea even how to get the cover off without setting the thing off. Take your cell phone, your smartphone, and just take a picture of the lock, and when you purchase our program, I give you my cell phone number, and just text the photograph of it to me and call me on the phone, and I'll walk you actually through fixing it.